So, Eric, thanks for having me here. Very, very excited to be here. My name is Bob Vieira. I'm the founder and the owner of Universal Short Sales. We're a full service short sale processing company and investment company. So, obviously, we specialize in short sales. It's in our name. We process short sales for other investors for a fee and for other realtors. That's our fee-based model. And then we process them in-house and we buy them ourselves. So it's a hybrid short sale model. And then aside from the short sale business, I do other investments such as fix and flips. As Carlos and I were just talking about, I have a couple projects going on now with some partners, and I'm looking to continue to ramp that up too, because the market's just, I don't know what the hell's going on, but there's no inventory. So it just makes sense.
Right, man. Ain't no problem. We're gonna bag this up, man, and probably should have recorded that earlier so I can at least get some stuff in there at the end of the day. But yeah, man, doing this, I know we're doing it. Kind of been trying to go back and forth to try to set some stuff up. I'm gonna pick your brain. At the end of the day, I guess you probably know Carlos, Justin. I think the young man that came on, right? So ask those questions. Ask him towards the end. At the end of the day. Carlos probably some seasons, he's got a little bit of a decade underneath him, so he probably understands and went through some of this. Maybe wasn't too much of it in 2010, 11, 12, but you're coming out of the bottom of the market. But yeah, I'm gonna pick your brain too as we move forward, man. So you're doing these slides here, man. I'm gonna ask you some questions because first thing that pops in my brain is that you're an investor, and if you're an investor, sometimes that's a conflict of interest for me at the end of the day. Right? In the last cycle, that's all they did was short sales. They weren't investors. Didn't have, just like the hard money stuff, right? They're in hard money and they're in the business buying deals too, right? That's kind of a conflict of interest to me as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, maybe you can enlighten us on that.
1,000%. Yeah. Ask away, guys. That goes for everyone. Ask some questions. So definitely not a conflict of interest, because the way it works, if you bring us a deal and you want to buy that deal, which I'm going to get to this later, if you want to buy and close on the short sale, then we just process it for you for a fee. It's your deal. It's that simple.
Is there like NCDs or anything in place? Non-disclosed, non-circumvent?
We have different contracts. Yeah, we'll go over all that. A little bit of background on myself. Born and raised in Pennsylvania. That's where I got started in the business. I actually got started as a realtor, not so much on the investment end. Just like any new real estate agent, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get any kind of business. Lo and behold, I stumbled on short sales. I had no clue what the hell they were, let alone how to do one. But through trial and error, I got really good at them, carved out a niche in the local market for myself. And then fast forward to 2019, I launched my company now, which is Universal Short Sales. A little bit about what we do. Again, we process short sales literally from start to finish. We actually have it broken down into a 12-step system. It's like a science we have it dialed into. We team up with investors, like I was just explaining to Eric. If you guys have a deal that you actually want to close on and buy and hold, or buy and fix and flip, you can hire my company. We'll do the entire short sale from start to finish for 3% of the purchase price, or a $10,000 flat fee on the HUD. It's paid the same way you would an assignment fee on the buyer side of the HUD. Team up with realtors, which I don't think is relevant here. And then we have our famous wholesaler referral system, which most of our business comes from this way. So if your business model is very wholesale heavy, like I know Justin, yours is right now, you're looking to wholesale a lot of deals. A qualified short sale lead, which I'll get into in a little bit, you actually can't wholesale it, because they're not assignable. They have negative equity. So,
right.
Yeah, we're just a resource where you could take that dead lead, send it over to us, and we JV with you on it, and we do all the work. Just to paint a picture for you, here's the current market conditions and why pre-foreclosures and short sales are super relevant right now, and it's only going to get more. Foreclosure starts are up almost 100% year over year. Okay. Mortgage delinquencies, not counting pre-foreclosures, simply people who are maybe just 30 days minimum, they're up 13% month over month, just the beginning. And then this one's crazy. Active pre-foreclosures in every single market around the country, all 50 states, are increased. Every single market has a large uptick in active pre-foreclosures. because as you guys know, these past 3 years, the federal government placed all these mortgage moratoriums. So banks were unable to foreclose on people. Now they are in an absolute rush. It's a frenzy. They want to foreclose on your ass if you're not paying them. It's that simple. And they're rushing to do so.
Why?
Questions, anybody? Everybody good? Yeah,
So why do
Carlos.
you want to foreclose? 9 times out of 10, the banks don't want them. They don't want those properties.
Are these
Yep.
numbers, I'm sorry.
Say it again, Carlos.
No, are these numbers, these stats nationwide?
Nationwide, exactly. So then that's actually great to point out. This is a snapshot. It's just nationwide. There's some markets where there's hardly any mortgage delinquency, and there's some that are way over 13%. So yes, this is an average of the entire nation.
And you do offer this business nationwide, not only in Florida.
Yep, we do them everywhere. I'm doing ones in Florida, Pennsylvania. We're taking 2 on in California and Joshua Tree, everywhere.
Do you have, well, making more than one question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, you're good.
Is there any ways, I mean, it will work with you guys, I mean, because we're not afraid to actually expand and go to different markets. Is there a way that you guys can give us, you know, like point us, you know, more or less where to market so we can get more of these deals?
100%. I'm actually getting into, I'm going to give you guys 2 specific ways to market to pre-foreclosures, and both of them are unconventional. So absolutely, I'm going to get into all that, man. And then you guys could ask questions of ways I go through too. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
To answer my question, Bob, why would they want to? Why would they want to take the house back? Because I know for a fact they don't want that house back, brother.
Exactly, 1,000%. So the banks are super motivated to do short sales because of that. And the
They
bank
only want to do short sales if they're upside down for their inventory. It has to be only the upside down inventory to do those short sales, what you're saying, opposed over a loan mod of some sort, right?
Yep. So what the
saying?
bank is always going to do, Eric, you're 1,000% right. They want to do 2 things. They're going to force the seller to either do a loan mod because they want their money,
Right.
or they're going to try to get them to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure because it's easier on them. They don't have to go through the long, drawn out foreclosure process, especially in states like Florida, where it's just gruesome for them to do it. So they're always going to force the seller to do that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's not. They can't force them legally. They can't force
Right,
them,
but they're trying to give them a sales pitch and go hard in the paint on them. You know what I mean?
Right. So if they do that, they go hard on that pain with the, hey, give me the house back. But someone like yourself, like Carlos or Justin or anybody, myself or you, can go to that family and say, hey, look, we got some solutions for you, right? We got some other resources for you at the end of the day, correct?
Yep. You are 1,000.
The house is upside down. Obviously, the bank is probably going to want to, I would say, probably want to do a loan mod over a short sale, right?
1,000% because they want their money. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they stay in business with them. When they got bad non-performing notes, the government's going to give them less amount of money every year. And eventually, like Bear Stearns and Countrywide, all those companies went out of business because of it.
Yep. 1,000%. Right.
So there's motivation. If you can paint a picture, and that's your job, right? To paint that picture along with the investors, say, hey, look, this punchy list, here's what we got. The area is shitty, it needs repairs, all kinds of other stuff to say, look, this is why you don't want the property. This is why you don't want the loan, and some other underlying things. That's your expertise to paint that picture to be able for them to accept or go after and say, yeah, let's discuss. They can't say no to a short sale. You can always propose it, and then eventually they could say no. Or your job is to say, help them say yes. Is that correct?
Help the bank say yes, you're saying?
Yeah, to a short sale.
Yeah. It's not so
Loss
much
mitigation, because you're dealing with loss mitigation and a bunch of other people, right?
exactly. We deal right with loss mitigation, and it's not so much of a verbal negotiation like a lot of people think, Eric. It's a lot, really, it's just a system. But yeah, at the end
Well,
of the
you're
day,
sending them stuff. You got to send them, paint them a picture.
Yes.
They see the
Yes.
punch list. You got to see, hey, this shit's upside down. Here's the appraisal. Here's the seller's story and their sad story and all that good stuff. Putting a whole package together, because at least that's what we did last cycle. We just put the ugliest picture together and say, here, this is why you want to unload this and go with the short sale. Of course, we'll talk a little bit later, because I'm going to ask you about that, that point when they said, hey, sign on on the dotted line for make sure that it doesn't come back and creep up on the seller. Yeah. Obviously, the whole thing here is obviously to help out the sellers And the investors will obviously make some money, and you make some money, and everybody else does, make it a win-win-win situation, correct?
Yep, 1000%,
Got it.
1000%. So what exactly is a pre-foreclosure? Pre-foreclosure in essence is once the homeowner gets around, typically 90 to 120 days-ish, depending on the state, the bank files an actual foreclosure motion to take them to court, foreclose, and take the property back, just as Eric was saying before. That's essentially what a pre-foreclosure is. Okay, it's a stage right before the bank takes it back and forecloses. Now, just as Carlos was asking before, okay, cool, Bob, you're explaining short sales, pre-foreclosures. How the hell do I get these deals? So here's two proven ways that we do it in my company. There's two proven ways we get these deals. This one's my absolute favorite, so I had to start with this one. This is a gem way to get deals. Mortgage modification leads, just like Eric was bringing up. So, okay, a lot of the people, if you're prospecting to pre-foreclosure leads, you and your team, you're going to come across a ton of people who are in pre-foreclosure. They're behind on their mortgage, but they want to keep their property. They want to stay in their home. So they apply for what's called a mortgage modification. Essentially what a mortgage modification is, and Eric, you seem to know a lot about these, so please jump in if you think I'm missing something. Essentially what a mortgage modification is, it's an application the homeowner fills out, they submit it to the bank, and if that application is approved, their mortgage servicer is going to essentially throw them a lifeline. They're going to let them stay in the property, make payments to prove themselves, and give them a second chance at paying their loan. Okay, so they could stay in the property. Now, what 99.9% of investors do is they're calling up pre-foreclosure leads, and as soon as the people say, hey, thanks, but no thanks, Bob, I'm actually working something out with my bank, they hang the phone up. Because it's human nature to do it. I used to do it all the time too. If someone tells you they don't want to sell, you're going to hang the phone up. But I'm here today to tell you, stop doing that. Here's what you want to do. We have this down to a system. When someone tells you that they're working it out with the bank, quote unquote, because that's typically how they'll say it, all that means is they're in the application of a mortgage modification. Guys, mortgage modifications take months and months and months to complete. So what you do is you stay on the phone with them. Okay, step one, stay on the phone and build rapport and be supportive. Very, very important. Keep the rapport going and be supportive of them wanting to keep their property. All right. The last thing on earth you want to do is try to give them a sales pitch and talk them out of doing a mortgage modification. You're going to separate yourself from them. They're not going to trust you. You don't want to take this route. So build rapport, be supportive of them doing it. And then as the conversation is flowing, you want to end the call with permission to follow up. Like I said before, mortgage modifications, they take forever to do, the application process. So as long as you build rapport and you're supportive of them, they're going to give you permission to follow up with them throughout the mortgage modification process. And now here's when the follow-up comes in. As soon as you hang up the phone, go into your CRM and you're going to set a systematic follow-up. We have this down to a science. It sounds kind of silly, but it's once every 3 weeks, you want to follow up with them. And the follow-up needs to be a phone call where you're going to leave a voicemail and send a text message. It's very specific for a reason. Most of the time when you're following up during the modification process, they're not going to pick up the phone. They're super stressed out. They're trying to get, bank statements, pay stubs, tax returns into the bank. They're busy and it's a very chaotic time. So most of the time, they're not going to pick up the phone. So you want to leave a voicemail with your first and last name, hang up the phone and send a text message with your first and last name. The messaging should be very, very simple. Hey, Joe, Bob Vieira here. Talked to you a couple weeks ago. Just want to check in, see how the mod's coming along. Something super chill and casual like that. What's going to happen when you leave your first and last name in the voicemail and the text message? Two things. Number one, it's brand recognition because you're going to be calling them for months. So they're going to get used to hearing your name. Number two, you're actually building trust because you're doing exactly what you told them you were going to do. When you hung up the primary phone call, you said, hey, I'm going to check in with you throughout this whole process, just in case you need anything from me. When you continuously do that and they get used to you doing that, you're going to build a lot of trust. And a very high percentage of these modification applications, they get declined, unfortunately.
What's the percentage?
I have no idea. I have no idea about the percentage, I'll be honest. But a lot of them do. A lot of them do. So when it gets declined, you're going to be first in line. I don't know. Do they put stats on that, Eric? I don't know.
Just from experience, man. There's not stats. I just from my experience.
Yeah. Gotcha.
About 50% of them don't go through.
I was just about to say
what they're going through. Yeah, they're probably, they'll make the payments and all of a sudden their house is on auction.com and they're calling you back. So beautiful stuff with the follow-up because it works. Let me add something there. When you get off the phone, if you're able to get off the phone with them, man, I would suggest, I know we do, at the end of the day is like, get that appointment. Can I follow up with you in 30 days? They say, yeah. All right, we're going to follow up with them in 2 weeks. So Bob's right about the follow-up. As you probably heard this before, the fortune's in the follow-up, magic is in the follow-up. That's how you're going to get most of your deals, is in the follow-up, nurturing that lead. But he's absolutely correct. If you do that, you're gonna get those deals. It's top of mind. That's everywhere with real estate, right? They're either going to call you or they're going to call your competition or whoever they like. If they like you, they'll go with you. But it does work. Go for it. But yeah, they don't have to give you a loan mod by law. They just have to go through they just have to make you jump through the hoops, right? If you're capable and you can make the payment, you got the money, then they may. But I always say, look, the ones that we talk to sellers, like at the end of the day, if they're the squeaky wheel, they'll get a loan mod. Guarantee it. If they're calling every single day, then if we jump in or Bob or anybody else jumps in, the bank starts looking at their P's and Q's, right? Because we're going to throw in an authorization release and we're going to talk to the bank. And now that they know there's a third party involved, right? Legally, they're not going to fuck with the seller as much. Excuse my French, right? And they're going to be talking with us at the end of the day, or Bob or someone else, or you, Carlos, Justin at the end, whoever comes in to do that. So it is a beautiful thing at the end of the day, and it's the follow-up. Some people will even move forward with the loan mods, or if it's upside down, then it's going to be a short sale. But 9 times out of 10, if it's a loan mod and it's upside down, they're not going to get a loan mod. It's not even an option.
Yep, accurate. Very, very true. Justin, Carlos, you guys have any questions on mortgage mods and like how to actually convert them into deals? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to get into this. I just don't understand yet with short sales, like if they're upside down, because I've been looking for properties and I've seen quite a few that people are upside down on it. It's like, for me to want to, do anything with it. I mean, primarily I'm looking to wholesale, but if I were to flip it, around Birmingham, properties are cheap. So there's houses that are the ARVs like 65,000. It's probably like a $20,000-$30,000 house right now. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. We used to live in Hawaii, and talking to people in California, it's like almost embarrassing to talk about like what inner city houses can go for.
No, there's money there. Yeah, there's money.
But yeah, some of these houses they'll owe $150,000 on it. So, I mean, what's like the end goal? How do you get out from up under like a debt like that when the house isn't even worth what they owe?
Yeah, I'm going to get into short sales. I'm actually going to buzz right there. I just want to give you guys some lead generation stuff, and I will dive right into short sales after this. I have a couple slides.
Okay, sorry, I mean jump.
No. You're good.
All this stuff.
No reason to apologize. You're good.
Yeah, ask the questions, man. It's all right. Well, like I said, I'll be here as long as you need me, Bob. If you got a hot date, I get it, bro.
Okay.
Oh no, man, I'm good.
This is what I do, man. So.
Yeah, no. Eric actually brought up an amazing point before with the 50. It's actually funny you said 50%, Eric, because you were spot on. So this is a snapshot of my mortgage mod pipeline right now. I have 130 active ones we're following up with. Let's say 50%.
Wow. Yeah.
50%, just like Eric said.
Good.
That's 65 leads. That's why. So the whole point with these guys is to build a pipeline. You're not going to get rich quick, get these leads fast. Build a big ass pipeline of these as you go, and then they're going to trickle in and they're going to be deals.
Exactly. That's what I've been promoting, man, to people and everybody that we have, mentees and all that good stuff. So look, show you how to build a freaking pipeline of short sales. everything that comes into your funnel, and for whatever reason you can't work as a wholesale sub to fix, flip, buy and hold, and they're like, you know what can I do with this? And Bob's going to explain that in a second, right? That's what I would recommend. Get it in the pipeline with Bob. Let him do the work that needs to be done. If you want to go in and try to get a deal, then write that son of a bitch up. Let Bob negotiate it. If you get it, awesome. If you don't, you're still gonna. I think Bob's gonna talk about this, right? You're still gonna get paid on it. Am I correct, Bob?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm done.
So a little modification bonus tip I won't spend a lot of time on. Let's say,
All right.
somebody's doing the mod, they get the mod approved. The bank puts them on a trial period. So long story short, you might want to continue to follow up with them, because if they miss one payment in the trial period, they're done. Stick a fork in them, unfortunately. So.
Right, and even then, the banks will unscrupulously, because I used to be for the banks. If you don't mind me jumping in, brother, right?
Please.
Bottom line, the banks will not. Just because they say they won't, it happens a lot. Oh my God, I made 8 payments. I paid everything on time, and I did all this. Now my home's on auction.com. Why? Because if their number comes up, remember, and sometimes sellers say that I'm working with my bank. No, you're not. The bank don't give a shit. All they give a shit is about the loan number, and they care about their investors at the end of the day, and they don't want those loans back. They want you to pay them. So what happens is that when it gets to that point, I guess where I'm going with this is that kind of fell off a little bit there, man. Catch me up, I think.
No, you're good. You're 100% right. You were saying that
with the loan mods, right? That
yes.
they can still go into foreclosure, but that's where you come in, right?
Yep.
You can still, if they're going to call you, if they like you and they like Bob and he's following up with them, or any one of you guys or us, whoever, right? They go, can you still help me out? They're going to call you with this problem. And then you're going to be able to have a solution for them, which is, let's do a short sale. Boom. It's easy peasy. It's going to be, and then stack them son of a bitches, right? And then let them do their thing, because they're going to pop eventually. You're either going to get a hot deal and everybody's going to make some good money, and you're going to help out the seller. And then, or it's not going to go through, but at least they'll get it. You help the seller. They're going to get a loan mod, and not a loan mod, but a short sale. And then you'll still get a referral from Bob's company at the end of the day, which is why I like what he's talking about and how this all works and stuff, and want to share with you. And if you see this video, I'm going to stop real quick, because if there's other people that watch this, because it is going to be monetized and shared at the end of the day, I think it should be, because it's great information. Then watch it all the way through, because my goal and Bob's goal is to drop these golden nuggets on the table for you. And then my goal is obviously, you know what I do, Bob, at the end of the day, right? We're in the business, we train, we mentor, and you're doing the same thing. We're all trying to make the stuff happen. You got awesome people that are here today, with the wholesaling and learning, experienced person, doesn't matter, right? Whether you're in this business one day or you've been in it for 20 years, or you're freaking 18 to 80, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is things change, and with doing this beautiful stuff, it's a way to help each other. So that's why I'm here to do this along with you, Bob. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And then I won't spend a lot of time on this, guys, but it's another.
It's okay, man. If you want to rush it, go for it, man. But
no, not at all. But I know they want to learn about short sales. That's why I don't want to, the questions are about short sales. But all right, so this is another gem I'm going to give you guys here. This is there's very low competition on this. Pre-pandemic failed short sale and pre-foreclosures. It sounds crazy to go back 3 years ago, but I'm telling you, this absolutely works. So you want to find properties that were listed in the MLS, either as a pre-foreclosure or as a short sale. You want to go back, pull those lists in your area, skip trace them, and then call them up, because here's where the gold is in these leads. Once the pandemic hit, the bank enacted mortgage moratoriums, which we all know. So the banks were not allowed to foreclose on people. So for those people that were listed on the MLS with their house foreclosing, when COVID hit, it was like a saving grace. It was like their saving grace, because they said, okay, I'm going to pull my property off the market. I'm just going to stay in my house now because the bank can't do anything. And a lot of them, on top of that, they took out these COVID-related forbearances. And those forbearances are not good for people typically in the long run. So a lot of the people that were listed on the MLS late 2019 until now they're actually in a worse off position now than they were before. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So you want to go back, pull these lists. When you pull these lists, okay, they're going to be small. Don't expect to pull thousands and thousands of leads. They're going to be small niche lists, but they're very, very effective. You're going to have a high conversion rate because you know every person you're calling was 100% going to sell and wasn't financial. I have gotten a bunch of deals like this the past couple of years. So I highly suggest this method. You guys have any questions on it? Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. Where you? How can you pull a list like that old? I'm not.
Yeah, I use PropStream to do it.
Okay.
If you have your a favorite real estate agent that you're in bed with, they could pull it for you from the MLS, but I use PropStream. Erick, I don't know what you use, what like software you're into. I don't know if you could do it on whatever you use, but if you want to weigh in.
Yeah, you can any of the platforms, as long as they go back, PropStream, Privy, you got Property Radar. If you have access to a title company, right? That's a beautiful thing, because then you have access to the title company, and then you can just pick properties, pick some properties, and then pull up the data and see if they're still accurate and things of that nature. But yeah, what Bob is saying is true. Last cycle, they're only 20, 30, 40, $50,000 behind in back payments. We're seeing a lot of them that are 60, 70, 80, 150 to $250,000 in back payments. And they're moving closer and closer and closer to the short sale arena, right? But there's opportunities that I want to also mention too, that I know that the short sale is here, but I'm going to drop it. Sub 2 buyouts are hot. So you're going to want to be able to look at that stuff. You find that stuff, there's a way to work them all through that funnel, man, right? The pre-foreclosures, sub 2 buyouts is going to be, short sales and just moving along. That cycle is rolling. So I'll leave it at that, but go for it, brother.
Yeah, love it. Carlos, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually doing it right now. I have batch and I have a PropStream. So, I pulled Florida and it says 22,500 records and pre-foreclosures. So you said pre-foreclosures that were listed before as pre-foreclosure, but they're not longer marked as pre-foreclosures?
Yeah. What I like to do, Carlos, I'll tell you, and I can't speak for batch because I've never used it, but in PropStream. So go into PropStream, you want to go to the keywords. You know how they let you do like the keyword search?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go to MLS, you go to fail, make sure it says failed listings.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sweet spot, Carlos, is I like to start like right around November, the end of November 2019 until now.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm a short sale guy, but I mean, you could look at regular pre-foreclosures too. But let's say you're just pulling short sales. You want to go into the keyword box and type in short sale, not with an S, singular. Okay. And that's how you'll pull those lists. Okay. And they're going to be small, but Carlos, you said you're in like Florida, Tennessee. You're in a bunch of markets, right?
Yeah, but I'm working right now to go
nationwide.
Instead of going wider, no, on the contrary, we want to go deeper in each market.
Okay.
Because we're restructuring, due to market shift and all that. So we're restructuring everything. And now we want to go deep. Yeah.
No, everybody is. Not to interrupt. Yeah, everybody's adjusting and adapting right now.
Yeah, man, it's incredible.
That stuff Erick could help you with. Erick's the man when it comes to like the traditional wholesale stuff. He's like a wizard. So you'll want to talk to him about that.
Wholesale and sub 2. There's going to be a lot of sub 2 buyouts. We're doing that on Saturday. Sub 2 training. We're sub 2 and deal flow. Sub 2 buyouts where you can actually get a lot of these deals at 2%, subject to existing financing.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing because you want to have that funnel. There's a funnel for everything, man. There's deals everywhere along that little funnel, brother. And short sales is going to make you money. Stick that in there at the end of the day. But that's some great stuff, Bob, because people are going to ask, how do I find a short sale besides just volume? Because I always say you'll find them. If you're out there hunting enough deals, they'll come onto your table. But then if you don't know what to do with them, then everybody shit cans them, including agents.
Great. So again, guys, those two methods I gave you, don't even feel like you have to hunt short. But just like Erick said, like if you're out there doing volume, you're going to come across short sales, but you guys will find non-short sale deals using those. Awesome, just high equity pre-foreclosure stuff. So, you know, do you have any other questions on this, Carlos? You cool on this?
Yeah. I think I can figure it out and take it from here.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Reach out to me anytime too. If you're like doing it or whatever, I'll help you. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about speaking with these pre-foreclosure sellers once you actually get them on the line. So first thing I'll tell you is, some people like sales scripts and sales scripts work. My suggestion is if you use a sales script and it works for you, when you're talking to pre-foreclosure sellers, I highly suggest you tone it back a lot. The last thing a seller who is currently getting foreclosed upon, the last thing they want to do is talk to a super aggressive, robotic real estate investor that is clearly just trying to profit from their situation. So really, you just want to let them know that they're talking to a human being on the other end of the line. You know, let the conversation flow. They should be doing most of the talking. You do most of the listening. And yeah, just be empathetic and just be cool. Just be a human being. You know, don't be too pushy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bob.
Now, as you're listening, and it is your time to talk, there's 4 very important questions you need to ask when you're talking pre-foreclosure. Number 1, you need to find how many months they're actually behind on the mortgage, because this is going to let you gauge how much time you have to actually help them. Once they answer that question, your next question has to be, okay, did your bank start the foreclosure process on you? That's your follow-up question. How many months you're behind? Did the bank start the foreclosure process on you? Okay. Question number 3. Now, if that answer is yes, then your third question has to be, did they give you an auction date? So if they tell you that they filed, okay, did they give you an actual foreclosure sale date of when they're going to auction your property off? Those first 3 questions, you are gauging how much time you have to help them. Now, the 4th question is important because you want to know, what is your estimated mortgage balance? Because this is going to let you know what your exit strategy is. Because you already know in your head what like a decent range of what the property's worth. So now you have to figure out what the heck they owe on it. Right? Because if there's equity, it might be a good sub-2 deal, just like Erick's an expert in. It might be a traditional wholesale deal where they have a bunch of equity and they're motivated. You could assign the contract. Or if they're upside down, it's going to be a short sale. So let's get into what a short sale is. A short sale in real estate is when 2 things are happening. Number 1, the homeowner is behind on their mortgage payments. So they're falling behind. They can't pay the bank. While at the same time, they want to sell their property, but the as-is value of the property is less than what they owe the bank on the mortgage balance. So they're behind on their mortgage and they owe more to the bank than what the property is worth as is. So quick example, let's say they owe 300 grand to the bank and their house is only worth 250. House is worth 250, they owe 3. They are underwater. They have negative equity by $50,000. Does everybody understand what that is? Questions on what a short sale exactly is? Justin, Carlos? Okay, cool. Now, a lot of pre-foreclosures, just like Erick said before, the word volume, that's the perfect way to describe it. If you are hitting a ton of pre-foreclosure volume, you will 100% come across short sales. Even in hot markets like this, people in America, and I love America, but I'm just being honest, people in America will find ways to lose equity on their house. They just will. You know, there's record amounts of equity, you know, these past 3 years. How many people do you think pulled their equity out and took a HELOC out and renovated the kitchen like they always wanted to? Or went out and bought that brand new boat and, you know, so on and so forth. People will find ways to lose equity. So there will always be short sales when you're prospecting to pre-foreclosures. What are the benefits of a short sale for a seller? Now, in a short sale, guys, the seller's not making any money. So what are the actual benefits? Number one, their deficiency gets waived, which in my opinion, this is the most important part. Yes, Eric. Yes, number one, correct. This is the most important part. What is the deficiency? Let's go back to the example. Property's worth 250. Okay. They owe 300. That $50,000 balance is called the deficiency owed. In a short sale, they do not have to show up to closing and pay that $50,000. They are free and clear from it. Okay. And then in the short sale approval letter, because this is what you were asking about, Eric, too. The bank puts in writing, and we make sure this is the first thing my staff looks for. We always make sure, because just like Eric said, the seller comes first. You can't leave the seller hanging. We search in the short sale approval letter that the bank is waiving their right to collect the deficiency, and they put it in writing. So the seller is off the hook. Number two, they get out from under the mortgage. And then number three is obvious. It does not get recorded as a foreclosure. Go ahead, Eric.
Sure. Maybe you can explain it, because I think this is super powerful. It's going to be a way to help close some of these short sales when they hear this, or the seller does, is that when it's tax time, right? Because if you don't get that deficiency right, can they come back and say, hey, you owe me this money? And even if they repair your credit, mess up their credit again, because they can come back for the deficiency?
So they're going to get a 1099-C tax form, which is reporting the deficiency to the IRS. What I always suggest, and I suggest you guys do this as an investor, be very, very careful giving tax advice to the seller. Even if you think you know what they should do, I would be very careful. What I always say is, listen, you're going to get a 1099-C. Okay, we're going to make sure the deficiency is waived. You're going to get 1099-C. Take that to your accountant, and your accountant will tell you exactly what to do. And if they're a savvy accountant, they a lot of the times you could get that tax liability waived. That's the way
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to interrupt, man, but explain this to me if you could, because I think it's important.
Yeah.
And the last cycle and cycles before that, there are some that just did short sales, and they just want to close them, right? And brokers and agents want to just close them, and they didn't have the deficiency waived. And when they do not have that, it's considered like, hey, it doesn't matter if you didn't pay the 50 grand.
Yes.
You're gonna owe it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. You're gonna fucking owe that shit. And excuse my French, right? A little passionate about this stuff, man. But at the end of the day, if you get that deficiency, that's like the key thing. Even last cycle, you had to like beat the shit out of the bank just to get one. And they'd always mess with you. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to do this, do that. Contracts, you literally got to read through with a magnifying glass to figure out, okay, is that going to, you're going to sign off on this son of a bitch or not? Obviously, it's a little bit different now. But does that make sense? Or can you explain it in a better way?
It makes total sense, and you're 1,000% right. So, guys, what Eric's talking about, that deficiency, if a bank approves a short sale and they don't put in writing that they're waiving their right to collect that deficiency, if they don't put that, they could sue the seller. They could come back and they could sue the seller for that difference owed. Go back to my example, the 250. So that $50,000 deficiency. Let's say you did a short sale and the bank didn't put it in writing that they're going to waive the deficiency. They could come back and sue the seller for that $50,000. That's what Eric's talking about. That's why you always make sure that it's in writing in the short sale approval letter. Eric, you said last time, and that's actually good info because I didn't know the bank was like that.
Yeah, it's not just the bank. The banks, when it's not done, they actually, because of the IRS and all that good stuff, right? Then it gets sold to a secondary market.
Yeah, no.
Uncle Sam wants to get paid too, man.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. I'm saying I never realized that they didn't used to include it, and you had to fight.
Oh yeah.
That's
shit. They did that shit on purpose, man, because they were like, it lets them off the hook. They don't want that efficiency, man. So it was always hard just to get it. And when you got it, golden, man. Sometimes we lose a lot of short sales because the seller started getting savvy. Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? I don't want this to come back. Oh, sorry. All right, what's the alternative, right? Some would take it. Say, I don't care. I'll deal with the shit later. I just want this done. All right.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
They will put it in there most of the time now. I've probably.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. I've probably seen a handful of times where they didn't, and then we just went back and we're like, hey, put it in there or we're not coming to closing. So,
Amen.
do you have a question, Carlos? Or Justin or something?
Maybe, I don't know if this is, I don't know, it came to my mind. Is it possible that if the seller owns multiple properties, can they put a lien on any of the other properties? I don't know, or that
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
apply.
That's a great question. So I've actually seen that before. So the answer is yes, they can put a lien on it, but the short sale, the individual short sale you're doing has nothing to do with those other properties unless it's a blanket mortgage with the same lender. That's a great question, actually, because we actually see that because when we do short sales for investors that have a portfolio, as long as the mortgage is an individual mortgage, then they're good. The bank can't go after any other properties in the short sale. Any other liens and stuff they put on it is a different story, but that's unrelated to the short sale.
Got it.
Great
Thanks.
question. Yeah.
Justin,
All right.
any
So,
questions?
yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Eric, please. Sorry.
Oh, no. Justin, you got any questions?
Now, I'm sorry, I'm just eating my dinner as I listen,
Okay.
but I had
I'm
no
gonna
clue.
share.
I've never heard this about the short sale, that the deficiency is waived. Like, I'm hooked now. Like, I'm hanging on pins and needles. Tell me more.
Yeah. 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 Do you have any
Like,
questions on the deficiency or like you good on that?
no, I'm good. I see how we can make some money with it now. Starting to make some sense. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So let's talk about how you actually qualify a short sale. So you're prospecting to all these leads. You think you have a deal. There's 3 factors. First factor is negative equity. So again, going back to that example I gave you guys. Property is worth 250. They owe 300. They're 50 grand negative. Okay. Factor number 2 is mortgage delinquency. So they're behind on their mortgage, or guys, maybe they're current. You're going to talk to sellers that are current on their mortgage. You know, they might say, hey, listen, I'm paying this month, but next month I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. That's a qualified short sale too. So negative equity, upside down on their mortgage, mortgage delinquency. And then the third one is what I call the bonus factor. I made so many mistakes when I first started doing these things. I wasted so much time. Don't be a dumbass like me. Learn from me and save yourself. A seller, unless, okay, if you're talking to a homeowner, they have negative equity, great. They have mortgage delinquency, great. It's not done yet. You need to make sure on that phone call that they are 100% okay with not making any money. Because a traditional motivated seller, just like you guys know, and just like Eric knows that business way better than I do, the traditional motivated seller wants cash, right? They want cash and they want to be gone most of the time. A short sale seller cannot be motivated by money because they're not making any money. Their motivation has to be to avoid a foreclosure and get out from under it. You have to make sure of that, because I'm telling you, if you get excited and you jump the gun because they have negative equity and mortgage delinquency, you will waste months of your time. Short sales can take 6+ months. You will waste your time because they'll back out of the deal. I promise you they will.
Yeah, so be
Yeah.
stick to the equity, stick to the integrity and loyalty and communication. You'll be all right. Just be upfront with them. There is a dance, they call it the art of the deal, and there's a certain way you're going to want to work with them as you move forward with sellers like that. And you're either going to do it on the phone like everybody else trying to do through text and email, or you're physically going to go to the house. And you will not go to the house unless you know, they say, they understand it. You can explain it to them.
Yes.
Sometimes a little harder to explain on the phone and all kinds of stuff. If you're in front of them and you sit down with them and you explain to them why this is going to happen. Like Bob said, exactly, their motivation is, I just want to get out of foreclosure. I want to be able to buy a house again. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by, unfortunately, going this route. Or they're thinking, you know what, it's too late. We got people that are door knocking, calling, text, whatever else. They're going, it's too late. My house is going to auction in 2 weeks, right? And well, we can still help them, you know, if it's going to be a short sale, or there's other little mechanisms that you can do to slow down the sale, like Bob knows about, and or can share later on. But the bottom line is that, you know, these people are in a situation. Now I'm going to ask you something really quick, and you don't have to answer it, right? and we don't have to get on video, whatever. Like I said, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a bookkeeper, I'm not a financial analyst, Mr. Carlos, or anything like that, right? So take this information as we drop it, right? Full disclosure, as entertainment purposes, do your homework and study and become the expert. But sellers cannot make a profit on a short sale, right? It's illegal.
Correct.
Is there a legal way to get it done?
Not that I know of, and it's not worth it. So people ask me that question all the time. It's just not worth it because banks, so any money the seller gets and a bank finds out, they consider that their money. And
Right.
they will prosecute for it. And they will actually consider it mortgage fraud, which is insane, but that's how they prosecute it. So anyone listening, I'm telling you, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Don't do it. Now, the bank could offer what's called relocation assistance.
Right.
That's how the seller could get paid. If the bank offers that, which that's a whole different subject, then absolutely, that's fine. But if you're buying a short sale deal, yeah, don't do it.
Gotcha. Good. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Now, what about on switching gears back to the foreclosure?
Please.
Because I've been told and seen a script like to talk to somebody who's like about to go through a foreclosure that, we could help extend the time, give them like an extra 30 days to move out and give them like, say, they were about to get foreclosed and they owed like $50,000 or something. And I offer like $5,000 more to take over that, to give them like $5,000 moving expenses. Would that be illegal if it wasn't a short sale?
Oh, no. If it wasn't a short sale, he's good, right, Eric?
Yeah, if it's in a short sale, you're probably not going to want to do that. If it's because it's upside down, you want to be careful. You're giving $5,000 away to go do something. You still got to negotiate. There's no guarantee that equity is going to get paid down at the end of the day. All that good stuff. So I say I don't recommend it unless it's a pre-foreclosure with some equity. And yes, I understand what you're saying. You can say, hey, there's $55,000. You owe $50,000. I'm going to reinstate that back loan to reinstate the property. I'm going to put the property into a trust for legal and tax purposes. Bank's going to know about it. Everybody's going to know about it. And you give me cash for keys like the bank would on this short sale thing with Bob, right? Short sale, they'll do cash for keys or job relocation. We're doing the same thing. You leave the house in broom swept condition, leave stuff there, sign this waiver. We're going to throw away whatever you don't want or donate it to charity. And you don't get your $5,000, right? And we're not going to reinstate until you leave the property in broom swept condition. Give us the remote, right, and the keys to the house. Here's your cashier's check, or tell us where to wire the $5,000. And when that happens, right, you obviously want to make sure all the paperwork's done. You got all that paperwork done before you even cut a check and before you even reinstate. Once you reinstate, it's your property. If you do this right, that's subject to existing financing, is what you're probably saying. It can be done all kinds of different ways, but I would recommend that you secure yourself with that. That's not illegal, trust me. You give them the $5,000, they move on. You take over the property, fix it, flip it, buy, hold, keep it forever, or do whatever you need to do with it. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really paid attention to what I learned about that, in the training, but it was on a house that would have not been underwater and that did have some equity in it, and they were just like, behind on their bills and couldn't afford them,
Yeah, that'll work. If it's upside down, you're not going to want to give any money. Let Bob negotiate that and see if they can get that from the bank and get it out of the bank's ass, right? And then give them, the bank will actually pay them, correct, Bob?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. If it's a government
Not guaranteed.
loan, yeah, exactly. If it's a government backed loan, typically they could get relocation. If it's a conventional loan, it's 50-50.
Right. Yeah. Roll the dice, right? Kind of like a loan mod. So I tell sellers, roll the dice. Good luck. Maybe you'll get a loan mod. Maybe you won't.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos.
Probably this is a question that I think I forgot to ask a few slides back. Eric was mentioned. He said something about that sometimes the seller has been making all the payments, and all of a sudden they see their property in auction.com, and the property has been, auctioned. How can you do a short sale if they have been making the payments?
So you could still do a short sale if they're making the payments. However, it's probably going to get declined if they catch it all up. So if the back payments are $10,000, Carlos, and they get all caught up on the 10 grand, the bank is probably going to deny the short sale, because remember the bank needs to see incentive for them to take a loss on their investment. You know what I'm saying? Like if I loan you 20 grand and you're making your interest payments to me every month, and then you come to me and you're like, hey, Bob, will you take 15 instead of 20? I'd be like, no, why the hell would I do that? You know,
Keep paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's how the bank
Keep
looks.
paying.
Is
Got
that
But if you were paying, and Bob's trying to collect from you for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, 2 years, is like, I got 10,000. You want it, Bob? Yeah, give me the 10K.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Correct.
Are-
Yes.
Are there any banks better than others to deal with? Like I remember when I did that short sale, my coach Dave Dinko was like, "Oh, that's going to be impossible. Bank of America is like, psh," and reverse mortgage is, it was like an impossible deal."
Option.
Two things I'll tell you there, okay? First off, Bank of America is an absolute nightmare, yes. Now, we have multiple with them now. We could get it done. We get them done. But yeah, Bank of America is, ever since COVID, it's very weird. Before the pandemic, they were awesome to deal with. I think they just might be understaffed or overwhelmed, or I don't know, man. But Bank of America went down the tubes. But yeah, they're pretty difficult. But to the second half, reverse mortgage short sales are some of the best deals, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's different now, right? Because a lot of banks have servicers. So you got like Ocwen and Franklin and Cooper and all kinds of shit like that.
Yep.
And you're not really dealing with the banks anymore unless it's a specific pool of loans that they loaned out and they're servicing in-house.
For anybody listening, Eric just brought up an amazing point, because that's a big myth, and that's a big misconception. I shouldn't say myth, that's a misconception. A lot of people think when you're doing a short sale, a pre-foreclosure, just dealing with the bank at all, that the bank owns the note. The person you're dealing with is the middleman. They're the mortgage servicer. Okay, so when you do these short sales and these pre-foreclosures, you're not actually dealing with the person who owns the mortgage note. You're dealing with the servicer. They are the middleman. That's a great point.
And you're good at all that good stuff. I would imagine doing this enough, you kind of like learn who's maybe on some, depending on your volume, right? First name, hey, how you doing, Tina? Oh yeah, I just want to touch bases with you on this and that. Maybe not you. I'm sure you got a team doing all that good stuff, right? There are different servicers that suck. There are some that are cool, and
I mean, at the end of the day,
question,
yeah, what the most important part is really the type of loan that you're servicing, because they're the ones that call the shots. So we do a lot of FHA, VA stuff. It doesn't really matter who the servicers are there, because the VA and the government and the FHA is calling the shots,
Okay.
So that's what matters most. Any other questions, guys? These are great. Justin, are you asking a question, or is that background?
You have a question, Justin?
Whole next level stuff though.
It looks like it's a background. It looks like
Yeah, I just
forgot to mute or
him.
something.
Yeah, I just muted him. If he has a question, he could unmute and shout it out. Okay, so I just want to touch base again, right? That's all right, Justin. You're good, man. You're over there eating your food. You're all good. Traditional motivated seller versus short seller. Again, guys, I just want to drive that home. The main difference, a traditional motivated seller is motivated by money. You're solving their problem, whatever the pain point is. They want quick cash and they want to get the hell out of there. A short sale seller is the opposite. They're not motivated by, they actually don't care. The best type of short sale seller will literally say to you, word for word, I don't care about making money. Just get this property the hell away from me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the key difference.
You hear that? That means you're done. Stop, wrap it up, lock it up, send that sucker over to Bob.
Yeah. So, yeah, if your guys, if your main exit strategy is wholesaling real estate, so you get a deal and you're like, hey, I want to buy this thing, renovate it, fix and flip it myself. That is your deal. That's amazing. You could bring that to us if you want. we'll do the whole short sale, we'll charge you a fee. But if your main goal is to wholesale it and you discover they're underwater and it's a short sale, you cannot assign a short sale. It's not allowed. It's a dead lead if you were going to wholesale it. You could bring it to us, partner with us on these dead leads. We will do the entire transaction. You won't lift a finger. We do 100% of the work. It typically takes 4 to 6, 4 to 7 months. And whatever our net profit is, we cut you a check for 20% of our net profit on every dead lead that you send. And mind you, these aren't like wholesale deals where we're taking them, assigning them. We are working months and months and months. And then we send you a wire to your account for every deal. And we are amazing. We pride ourselves at keeping you updated. So we sign a contract with you guaranteeing the JV. And then we keep you updated throughout the entire process. You'll always know where that lead is that you send us. We are amazing at communication. Really quick case study. I had to throw this in here because I just closed it last week. So this is in Milwaukee. Again, we do these all over the country. Every short sale is the same. It does not matter where it is. Last week, we closed a deal in Milwaukee. They owed over 200 grand. The property was an absolute wreck. This is one that I bought. Okay. So a JV partner sent it over to us because she was gonna wholesale it until the mortgage payoff came back. And she's like, oh shit, this is a dead lead. Sent it over to us. It took us around, God, I think somewhere between 5 and 7 months. This one took somewhere between 5 and 7 months. And the wholesaler, again, this was a dead lead. She made $14,000 for literally doing nothing, for taking a lead that she couldn't do anything with, sending it to me, getting updated the whole time until I was like, hey, send me your wire information. Boom. $14,000 for a dead lead.
What was the process? Because it says approved for short sale purchase. So you bought it for 20?
Bought it for 20, and then we actually took title to it. We just double closed it pretty much. We like sealed it up, did that, and we just, double closed it because that one didn't have deed restrictions. Most of the time, by the way, you can't double close them either because they have deed restrictions, which are insane.
It's conventional?
This was a conventional loan, Eric. Yep.
So the mortgage balance was 200K plus?
Yep, over 200, a little over
And
2.
you negotiated it down to 20 grand?
$20,000. Now the property, the reason we were able to get such a deal is because the property was a complete wreck. Like it was horrific.
A tear down, gut?
Complete gut. It was gutted, but
that makes sense.
All the debris was there.
What was the ARV on it?
The ARV was 150, 160. Yeah, I think 160. Bought it for 20 and we sold it for 110 gross. So then after closing cost, processing fees, all that stuff, the net profit, the wholesaler got paid on 60 grand, 50 or 60 grand. Sorry, I'm not good at math off the top of my head.
Hey, I get it. Yeah, I do the same thing. Just give me a calculator.
Yeah.
So you put like 60, 65 on it.
Yeah. And then we cut her. I mean, it's 14 grand. She actually just sent me another one the other day because obviously, she's like, holy shit. So again, I don't want your good deals. You want to do sub 2, like Erick's an expert. He's talking about you want to fix and flip, do that. But we are a tool in your tool belt whenever it's a dead lead. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and it works both ways. Even dead leads, wholesale's a box.
Yeah.
One trick pony. When it goes from wholesale, it'll go to sub 2, it'll go to terms, and it'll go to, obviously, if it's upside down, short sale, option, all that good stuff. So same thing, dead leads, whether it's a short sale, sub 2, a lot of people will not move forward because they're used to, hey, I want to wholesale. If they're new, that's all they know. If they're from the last cycle, or even like with Carlos, right? I was wholesaling, I was fixing and flipping, got tired, now I'm wholesaling. Now I'm gonna go back to fix and flip, right, for a reason. That's because there's more money in it at the end of the day, right? But there's more headaches. But if you have a phase, we do them in phase 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like Bob is saying, there's a science to everything. I always say franchises don't fail, people do. And the same thing with what we do with sub 2, and just doesn't matter, right? There's a science to everything. If you think about it, just like what Bob is doing, franchise, thinking about systems, knowing what the seller is. It's not to know it all. It's just because it's human nature, right? It just, if you do it enough times, it's like a recipe. You follow down recipe, first couple of times might suck, but it gets better and better and better and better, and eventually you become an expert in your area, and you know something that nobody can take away from you, and you know, that's how you dominate your little area, you know, at the end of the day. Or wherever you're going, like Carlos, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over here. Once we go to location, now we're going to dig in deeper. We're going to put those, you know, we're going to just dig far further into that niche so you can dominate your area, put your head down and grind. Who gives a shit about the Joneses at the end of the day? They're going to ask you, hey, what are you doing? How'd you close that deal, right? You know, then you can decide whether you want to share it or not, right? But that's my 2 cents there.
I like that. Who gives a shit about the Joneses? I love it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Everybody's too busy because of social media and shit. What about that? What about this? I saw this check. I saw that check. Who cares? And if you want to share your checks online, go for it. Share that with the IRS when they come knocking at your door.
You're 1,000% right. I even find myself struggling because so many people are posting so many things. I have to, you know, get myself off of it.
That's true, man. It's addictive.
Yeah. Guys, I have a free course I came out with a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I'm going to offer it to you guys here. This is recorded, so whenever Eric puts this out, anyone listening, I'm going to give the link to Eric, and he could share it with whoever's listening, whoever, you know, all the people in his group. It's my gift to you guys. The two gentlemen, Carlos and Justin, that hopped on today, you guys will have my email after this, or just PM me on Facebook. I'm very accessible, and I'll send you guys the link. It's a free course. Sign up to it, man. It's like an hour and 10 minutes of pre-foreclosures, how to get deals, short sale fundamentals. And then I literally give you my 12-step process of how to do a short sale, step by step. So it's all for free. It's, yeah, like I said, my gift to you.
Awesome. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
awesome.
Yeah. And then on the cheat sheet stuff and anything like that, anything, if you got questions like for Bob, or you got questions here, ask, reach out. I'll throw some stuff on there as well for the cheat sheets on what to say to these sellers like Bob. He's going to be all in there. We like to have lead gen, you know, pages and things of that nature. They work. There's a beauty to it, right? The art of the deal, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, you send that over to me, brother. I'm going to share it with everybody, whoever wants it. You know, that's cool.
Awesome.
I'm here to pay it forward for you, man, because I want to bring you some business and vice versa, right?
You as well.
And I know there's a need for it, man. I know there's a need for it because I see them. Trust me, I'm not going to lie. Maybe a year and a half ago, stuff was coming down the wire. Said, you know, got mentees going, hey, what do I do with this? That's a short sale. Don't worry about it. You don't need to learn that right now. That's later on. But if you want to take it down, then tell me. I'll explain it to them. Then they go, when can I make money? Oh, it's going to be 6, 7, 8 months. Oh shit. Okay. They're stuck in the wholesale thing. Right. But I'm like, hey, put it in the pipeline. Put it in the pipeline. Is a check's a check, whether it's right now or in 8 months. Right. Yeah. It all pays the same. So, and you're in this business for the long term. So it's a beautiful thing. I do appreciate your time, Mr. Bob. At the end of the day,
appreciate you having me, man. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we linked up, and yeah, we'll do it again for sure.
Any questions?
Yeah, guys, fire away. I got nowhere to be. I'm happy to hang with you. I will answer any questions you have.
No, the question is, how do I get more of those leads? Because I know they're coming out even more, and we haven't been marketing to get those pre-foreclosures, but everybody keeps talking about them. And we want to add more of those to be present, when they're ready to sell.
Question.
Yeah.
Market. Go after them. Pick up the
market to them. You have a couple of things you can add, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, how do I find those leads, before, I know the lease pendants and, when I go to PropStream, and you click on pre-foreclosure, there's like notice of default, auctions, default, releases, bank owned, lease pendants.
Yeah, what you can do is go into there and check some of those things like Bob was saying. Find those, go back, or you can actually take a look and go look at the equity. Now, I would suggest to go after everything at the end of the day, because you never know what's going to turn into a deal. And, short sales cherry on the top at the end of the day, right? Try to get them wholesale deals, fix and flip, buy and hold, sub 2, let it roll. Think of it as like a funnel, right? Just going through with spigots. But at the end of the day, if you got something that says, we like to go back 90 days, 60 days, 120 days, or when they get recorded. But there's also some things, depending if you go with PropStream, I'll use PropStream for an example, Bob uses, you can put in there, right? How much equity do you want in the damn property? 10%, 20%, 30%, 0. So, if stuff comes up, like you said, there might not be a lot, but they're going to come up. Check all the cities, narrow them down to zip codes and just city by city by city, and just keep on hunting and build yourself a list. Save that list if you're using batch, the same thing, or privy or whatever. It's all the same shit to a degree. PropStream I like because they will tell you the default information. They got some more fields than all the other softwares, than what's out there, and you can see the default amount. They'll let you know if you click it. Hey, I want to know the default amount. Now, some over a period of time since they got bought out by the title company, they're going to tell you, some of it is not. Oh, okay. Well, where'd it go? It was there, and sometimes it's added. So if you know that, you'll be able to tell the default amount, and you'll be able to know if it's upside down or not, and then build yourself a short sale list if you just want to go specifically after those, and then build yourself a NOD list. Notice the default or list pendants. Then you can even go after the auctions, right? Like the auctions are going to be super motivated. So that means if it goes to auction, nobody buys it, it's going to go back as an REO, which is real estate owned. And then shit, banks don't want them, so they'll postpone. But at the end of the day, they keep on postponing. They're going to turn into a short sale because their equity gets all gobbled up over a period of time, like it's been doing. So I would suggest that look for those. Just look for the properties with no equity. Go after the NODs. Notice the defaults, list pendants, and auctions. Notice the trustee sales here in California, but it might be a different jam in your area, judicial and non-judicial, and you have to go through the court process. But you want to catch them before the bank stamps that judgment on them. And if you can do that, then you're golden, right? But look for those. You'll find a bunch of short sales. Trust me. Just work them all, like Bob was saying. Work your NOD market, work the NOD leads, or just that pre-foreclosure market, and stuff's going to fall into place. You're going to get those. But if you want to hammer to those, do what Bob just mentioned. Go back several years, or just look for the ones that don't have a lot of equity, or look for the ones that are upside down.
Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate it. For those, probably Justin, I don't know if you have platforms and stuff like that, but can you get them, and whoever's listening, can you get them directly from the court? Since this is public records, this is pendants, it's public records, right?
You can. I know Texas is kind of like that, right? Because it's not disclosed.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure these platforms, they don't update this system on a weekly basis, or probably on a monthly basis. Who knows how often they update those records?
Yeah, PropStream's pretty good. I know Privy, they say they update every 15, 30 minutes or every day or something. Don't quote me on that. But Privy's more of like for MLS type deals, for the people who are going for online on market stuff, right? Their data is a little bit different. It's not bad, it's good. But on PropStream, I know it's updated, but you're right. You can, if you want to try to beat some stuff to the punch, you can do that. But PropStream's pretty good. They're owned by, the title company probably wouldn't have bought them if they didn't have updated data. That stuff gets, aggregated very quickly. That's one of my pet peeves last cycle. I'd call these companies, right? Property Radar is pretty good. They finally caught up, right? And that's all they deal with is they used to, pre-foreclosures was their claim to fame, but there's only 5 states. Now it's all the states. They had to catch up because all the other companies blew them out of the water. I always loved their data, and it was always accurate, and it was always like, geez, how fast is your data? I need to know. If this stuff gets recorded, how long is it going to take before it hits your system? And for me, with pre-foreclosure, it's super important, right? I wanted to make sure that, I had that information. They had a thing called foreclosure.com last cycle. Oh man, they suck. 30 days, 60 days before it got updated, right? And you're spending money every month and going, shit, you already sold the property, right? Or got fixed or whatever. So, but PropStream's pretty good. Their data, I'm not sure. Maybe Bob maybe knows about that. Maybe not. It's not a big deal, but they're pretty good as far as.
I agree. I'm a PropStream guy, 100%. I actually didn't know that a title company bought them, Eric. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What about, have you guys heard of this company called Pre-Foreclosures Daily or foreclosuresdaily.com, something like that?
Yeah, I actually spoke at an event here in Florida with one of their reps. I don't know if she's an owner.
Tanji?
What's her name?
Tanji?
Yeah. Yes, that's her name.
Tangi.
Yes, 100%. That is her name. Yes, yep, that's her. Yeah, I
Are
don't
they
know
good?
anything about it. I've never used it, but yeah.
Is that for Florida only?
I don't know, Carlos, is
I
it?
don't know. No, I don't know. I don't
Might
know.
be.
I don't think so. I think it's, I don't know.
The reason
don't
I
know.
say that is because non-judicial and non-disclosure states, most people, you got to either go to the county assessor, kind of build your own list, or there's going to be some special peeps that have been in the business for a while, and they do all that heavy lifting for you, and then sell you on a subscription to get those lists. But it's usually non-disclosed states and a non-judicial.
Interesting.
Got it.
Any other questions, guys?
So the stamp you were talking about, Eric, that's when it becomes like officially a foreclosure. Like we don't have any more options once it's foreclosed on, right?
If it goes to the auction,
Yeah.
yeah, once it hits the
Is
auction,
that-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so that's that. Well, that is the next step. Is when it's foreclosed, it goes to auction, and so that would be the only way to get that property at that point, is to be a bidder. I mean, I don't really know the next step on a foreclosure.
Yes or no? I mean, yes and no, I should say. You want to chime in, Bob, or do you want me to take it?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You go run with it. Go ahead.
So it's either yes or no. It depends, right? Judicial, non-judicial. If it's like California, for example, or even Texas, once it goes to auction, you can still save it 2-3 days before the auction comes down the wire. If it's a short sale, it's going to happen. What's going to happen, right? It's going to go back to the damn bank no matter what, because nobody's going to bid on it. It's upside down. And if nobody bids on it, then it's going to go back to the bank as a REO or real estate owned. Banks don't want them, but they'll take them. Going to have to, right? Because usually they do this in like, big old chunks, 100, 200, 1,000, 3,000 loans, and they all get slated for foreclosure. And now if there's equity in the property and you're going to go to pre-foreclosure or it's going to go to auction, then you can stop the sale up to about 24 to 48 hours, as long as you go and reinstate or send a runner. We've done that with cashier's checks and stop the sale and then reinstate some bitch and move forward, right? But then if somebody does buy it, you don't have to buy it. I don't like going to the auction. There are people that do go to auction, they'll bid and they'll get a better deal than sometimes what we're offering. When we had that in Northern California, we're offering $450 for a property, and the bank did some maneuvers and they made the payments and they're going to try to do the loan mod thing. And seller was, waiting, didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, bam, pre-foreclosure went to the auction. And then a day later, the investor who bought the property for, I believe, $410,000, we offered $40,000 more, right? They got it for $410,000, and they're there to say, "Hey, we own the property now. What would you like to do?" And they offered her $5,000. Here's the $5,000, cash for keys, and vamonos, time to leave. Goodbye, right? And then they take the house, fix it, flip it, buy and hold it. So there is but you got to buy that at cash. You got to have cash. You got to be cases of cash at the bidding, when you go to the auction. So that's why we try to go and promote low hanging fruit everywhere. Sub 2, short sales, go for the low hanging fruit. The big banks aren't going to do it, right? The equity funds and the hedge funds of America are not going to do that. They haven't, they try to do the iBuyer shit and that didn't work. So, we're still good for another decade. So go for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. This has been very informative. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to walk me and Carlos through what y'all can do.
You got it.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Any questions? Ask away, man.
No, man, thank you.
advantage
Thank
of
you guys so much. I'm pretty sure I have questions. I already sent you a friend request, Bob. I
Yeah.
noticed that we were in communication, Eric, back in March 2020. For some
Okay.
reason, we got disconnected. Yeah,
Wow.
I went to, I'm gonna text you right now.
Okay.
I said thanks.
Mhm.
And Justin, I also sent you a friend request. Let's get connected. I'm also here to help. Justin, if you don't have too much information about wholesaling and stuff like that, it's all collaboration. The pie is very, very big, and whatever I can help you guys with, I'm here to serve.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Bob?
Awesome. Yeah.
Anything else, Bob? You want to wrap it up? Anything before I wrap up? Because I'm going to throw a couple of things in there, and then we'll just. Hey, I do appreciate your time.
No. Thank you for having me, and thanks for coming, guys. That's it, Eric. The floor is
Good.
yours.
You sure?
Yeah, no.
How do we
That's
get in
I
talk?
mean, listen,
How do we get in touch with you, brother? Right? I know it's universal short sales, but like, what's
Yeah.
you know, I get like right here. Because think of it this way: right here is intimate and it's awesome. But this video, as far as I'm concerned, we're gonna monetize it, share it. Maybe we go in private groups. Maybe we go in some of your private groups. Take up pieces. I like my stuff live and uncut. I don't like to can it and edit it and stuff, right? Unless they want that done, then we share it, man. Share the information.
Yeah.
People will see this. They're gonna go, "Well, who the hell's Bob? Universal Short Sales. How does that even work, right?
Yeah.
Well, where do I go? What do I do? What if I got a short sale?
right
And I'm
here.
gonna wrap it up with my little signature as well, man. For for the Amp Live Real Estate Show. And thanks for fucking showing up to all this good stuff. But share what you're about,
Yeah.
brother.
This is
Thank
how
you.
you get in touch with me, guys. You go to universalshortsales.com. My direct cell phone's here, my email, and then if you're not in my Facebook group, I have a Facebook group dedicated to short sale and pre-foreclosure information. I'm always posting stuff. I bring on guests who are expert in that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely get in that group if you're not in it already. But as far as getting in touch, find me on Facebook like Carlos already did. Hit me up on my cell phone, email, etc. And yeah, if you guys want that free link, again, for anyone listening, I'm going to give it to Eric, and he's going to distribute it however he wants to his group. And then Carlos, Justin, if you guys want it, just hit me up on Facebook or shoot me an email and I'll get it to you guys.
Wonderful. That's universalshortsales.com, right?
Universalshortsales.com, right on the screen there. So anyone who's watching the recording, you could pause it, take a screenshot. That's all my contact info right here.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I had to put on these things, man. I guess when you hit a certain age, my dad didn't say, "Hey, your eyeballs start going," along with the hair and some other stuff, right? So hey, it is what it is. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up. Thank you again. Thank you guys for showing up. And if you see this video, anybody sees this video at the end of the day, watch it back and forth. There's golden nuggets, pro tips. Thank you for attending the Amp Live Real Estate Show. My name's Eric. Bob was your host. I was your host, Eric Paul. Hopefully you get some value from this. Watch it all the way through. I suggest watch it all the way through, fast forward, and get all those nuggets that Bob was sharing with you. And even the guests here were, those are awesome, awesome, beautiful questions. I'm Eric from AHA, Americans Helping Americans, one American at a time, one property at a time, one family at a time. Doing our part to get America back on track and Amp Live, the American Mentee Program, along with Mr. Bob, Universal Short Sales. I say use it because, look, nobody's messing with that shit right now. I always say gear up now. Don't wait until the war or till the thing comes to your door, $1 late, $1 short. And you're going, okay, I'm going to get ready into short sales. You're going to miss out. You're going to miss the whole wave that's going to go through. I say get ready, gear up now. Start throwing Bob some stuff. I'm going to share some. I'm going to send some stuff. I'm going to shout to everybody. We get these things because we didn't have a mechanism. And I didn't have somebody that I trusted that I wanted to send them business and go, look, take care of it. Bob's going to take care of it, right? I know, I talk with him. He knows his stuff. So I feel comfortable. Hopefully, others, when you watch this, I always say to do your due diligence anyways. But at the end of the day, that's my endorsement, whether it means anything or not. Bottom line is, hey, go for it. Let's all get together and rock and roll with all due, with all due respect. You know what I mean? I'm not going to apologize for the F-bombs and the S-bombs, right? We're all passionate about what we do. But rock and roll and all that you do. Thank you very much, Bob, Carlos, Justin, and anybody else who watches this video. Keep on rocking and rolling. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.